I'm Mark Silverthorn. I hope you enjoyed this video.
Hi, my name is Walter Monteiro. I'm a real estate and mortgage agent here in Cambridge, Kitchener-Waterloo. I'm with Remax Real Estate Center, and my wife and I co-own a mortgage brokerage, Mortgage Alliance Greater Golden Horseshoe. We've been in the business since 1987, and it's been a great career. I've certainly enjoyed it very much. So we're seeing a couple things sort of coming down the pipe as a result of that. There's obviously a shortage of homes. It's not unusual to be in multiple offers on a regular basis. In fact, it's more unusual not to be. So we're running into multiple offers all the time. In fact, I was in one last night. Believe it or not, there was only two, which really is a really low number. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was involved in a multiple offer that had over 43 different offers. And 15 different offers and all that kind of stuff. So that's been going on in the marketplace for quite some time now. And that's strictly as a result of, a supply problem, cheap interest rates, and, obviously a lot of people sort of coming into our community here. There's a change going on with regards to zoning, from my understanding. And I think it's being forced down by the province amongst the municipalities to try and accommodate multifamily homes and in single family areas. So what were traditionally single family areas. I think people kind of get a little nervous about two family homes. And certainly you have your right to have concerns, for sure. But I think for the most part, I think it's going to be okay in the sense that it certainly increases the value of your property because now it has an income element to it. So that is definitely good. It could be a little bit of a mortgage helper. And then, of course, you have the two-family situations. This is more and more common. I see it all the time where kids have just basically given up and they're moving in with mom and dad permanently. So they've had to do that. I guess the other side of the coin is you have people that are in these, single-family areas, and they have concerns about, I think, probably two elements. Number one is this going to affect the value of my property? Okay. And number two, is it going to affect my quality of life, my enjoyment, my private enjoyment of the property? I think from the investment part, I really don't think it's going to affect it too much. In fact, if anything, it might even increase it because, you now have an income part to it or the ability to house two families in it. Some people may look at it a different way. I personally do not. But if you're the kind of person that, density is an issue, then it's probably going to have an effect on you for sure. When you start throwing two families into, single family homes, that's going to mean more cars on the road, more people around. It's going to tax the infrastructure. I don't think that, we're going to be challenged too much. But nonetheless, if you're somebody that's enjoyed that single family area, it is definitely going to have an impact on your quality of life for sure. But in terms of your investment portfolio, I don't think so. I don't see it.
Hi everybody, this is Upsize Down. I'm Dan, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to introduce myself to you, who I am, how I got here, what my life's journey has been, and then also give you a little bit of my at-home life and how the rest of my family thinks about all of this. My dad has been in residential construction since he was 16, so I've been around it all of my life. In fact, when I was 4, I fell into a foundation hole of a house he was building. I later joined forces with my dad as a general contractor, and we worked together for 10 years. I then started White Willow Design to be a separate design company, and again, designing residential construction. And through that, we got designing a lot of smaller and smaller and smaller spaces. So one of those ways is duplex and triplex conversions, or then getting into 6plexes and 8plexes. And right now we're even working on a 16-unit building. Why or how can we put more units into someone's property? And the simplest answer is, let's just build a separate building and put it in the backyard. And that's what's led to True North Tiny Homes. Joanna and I watch a lot of episodes about tiny homes, and we thought we can do this better. And I really think we have. We're bringing the expertise and the passion from all different genres together into one company building tiny homes. So we're bringing the passion from construction, we're bringing the knowledge from architecture, and we're bringing the knowledge from interior design, and we're putting it all together into one tiny home. And this is making an awesome product for people. The reason I really want to keep building this awesome product for people is because of the future and what's going to be happening. There are so many people already that can't afford housing in today's housing market, and it's just going to keep getting worse. The housing crisis is going to get worse. More people are going to be looking for cost-effective homes, and so I really want to help those people move into cost-effective homes. So we really think it's important to bring your family home. This is going to be the wave of the future of people bringing their family to live in tiny homes in their backyard. And whether that's your son moving out of the basement or it's your mother moving back home to not be put in a nursing home, but somewhere where you're going to take care of them. So bring family home, build a tiny home, enjoy life. We often get comments about the cost of a tiny home, and I get it. Some of our tiny homes cost more than my first house did, and I'm not even that old. And even more recently, when we started building the Millennial, our first tiny home, and we started planning that and budgeting, it was a lot more expensive than even I anticipated. What do we learn from that? Smaller does not necessarily mean that much cheaper. You can't go by square footage cost. Tiny homes in general cost a little bit more than RVs and mobile homes. You can see my imaginary appliances in here because they're not installed yet. But the fact is we still have to buy appliances. And guess what? The smaller appliances that we use in a tiny home cost more than the regular size appliances we put in a larger home. Now, the last thing that makes this more or less cost effective for people is the financing part of it. So buying a $500,000 home and putting 20% down would be $100,000, and that's required. But buying a $100,000 tiny home and putting 100% down because you can't get financing, you still require the same $100,000, and all of a sudden that doesn't sound as affordable. And this is kind of a gray area and a tricky area, and it's changing all the time, but getting financing will make this quite a bit more cost effective. We can finance one home at a time, and when that one's done being financed, we can finance another one. And as time goes on, we should be able to do more of this. That's in-house. But we also are trying to build relationships with banks and credit unions and mortgage brokers to try to get this out there and available. And one of their problems is that there's not enough data on the resale value of a tiny home. And they always look at worst case scenarios. So if you buy this tiny home and you get a mortgage on it, and you default on the mortgage and the mortgage company takes it back, and they now have to sell it to somebody else because they don't want a home, they want to finance money. So they need to sell this to somebody else. How much can they sell it for? They have no idea. There's not enough data. And because they don't know that worst case scenario end game, they're scared to start with the start game of the financing to begin with. And so it's really trying to build these relationships with these financial institutions or even private lenders in trying to make this more of a thing. And the more people that ask their mortgage brokers and ask their banks on how to do this, the more likely we can get this passed, because the more interest that's there, the more likely that they're going to start doing it because they can make money off of it. Now, some of the top 5 banks in Canada are providing what we would call a chattel loan. And I have not had any of our clients have success with this yet, but there are a few of them that are trying to go through the process. And a chattel loan is a loan that's based on a piece of physical equipment that is worth a value. So typically that would be an RV loan or a boat loan, and people call them RV loans and boat loans, but it's actually called a chattel loan. So a tiny home fits under a similar situation. Again, they have this problem with the worst case scenario end game, and we are still trying to get around that. But some banks have expressed interest in actually loaning on that chattel loan. That's all going to be on approved credit, of course.